Okay, fantastic. We'll get started now. And if anyone would, wants to revisit this conversation, we'll put it up on our website and on our YouTube page. So you'll be able to see this later throughout this week, I believe. And again, I dropped my email in the chat. If you have any questions at any point, if I didn't get answered today, please feel free to email me. And we'll also have time for questions at the end of this info session. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. My name is Samir. I'm the Industry and Education Programmer here at the Real Asian Film Festival. I work on our industry and education portfolio. Today, I'll be talking to you about our So You Think You Can Pitch film competition. This pitch competition has actually been going on for around 17 years. Our festival is going on our 28th year this year. The festival is going to be happening this year from November 13th to the 23rd. Today, we'll cover everything about the So You Think You Can Pitch short film pitch competition. We'll talk about the pitch guidelines, application tips, important details about the competition. At around 7:20 p.m., I'll open up the floor for questions. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Our So You Think You Can Pitch is a short film competition. It's for emerging filmmakers, and we'll define that later throughout this presentation on what is a short film, what is an emerging filmmaker, and if you're eligible for this competition, and if it's the right time in your kind of filmmaking career and endeavors to apply for this competition. Last year, we had our pitch competition in person. It closed off our festival, which was really fantastic. It was a great way to look forward as a way to end our festival and show the filmmakers that are currently working and the filmmakers that are emerging in this scene and who are making really, really great projects. Again, the festival will be happening this year from November 13th to the 23rd. We're going to have an incredible lineup of feature films, short films, parties, and also industry events. The pitch competition is going to close out our festival once again this year, and that's going to happen at the end of the festival on November 23rd, which is a Saturday. And on this day, you'll have the chance to pitch your project in front of a live jury and a live audience, which will be made up of industry professionals, peers, and just fans of cinema. We really aim to make this event as fun as possible, as lively as possible, and as supportive as possible. It's really daunting pitching a project in person. So we really try to, before the event actually happens, we try to make sure that the finalists who are pitching are feeling completely comfortable and are super prepared to pitch their project. So leading up to the pitch event, we'll offer workshops for the 5 pitch finalists. We're planning one in-person workshop where finalists will practice their pitches and receive feedback from mentors who are usually filmmakers, writers, and producers. So we'll start a little bit at the top. So eligibility. So for this application, we're looking, it's open to Canadian citizens and also open to permanent residents as well. Applicants must reside in Ontario to utilize the full pitch price package. We have a great in-kind package that is a little bit geo-blocked to Ontario, which includes camera gear equipment and a lot of other supports, which we'll talk about. The competition is open to emerging filmmakers. The way we define that is for folks who have not directed more than 5 short films or held an above the line position on a feature length film. So for instance, if you were the director on a feature length film, you would not be eligible for this competition. You'd be just, you would just have a little bit too much experience. And when we say for folks who have not directed more than 5 short films, this doesn't include student films. So for instance, in university, if you made some short films, we don't include those films. So, if you've made a lot of short films in your university career, that's totally okay. Or if you've made, let's say, a lot of YouTube videos, that won't count as, you'll still be eligible to apply to this competition. The film projects that we look for must be in the development or production stage. So post-production only projects are not eligible. So if your project is already in post-production, you're completing an edit. We're looking for projects that are not at that stage just yet. So we're looking for projects that are either in development. So this is pre-production, meaning you're working on your script, you're finalizing locations for it, you're going to crew up, you're going to cast your project, or this could be a project or a film that's already in production, meaning you're starting to film it. You've maybe secured some cast, you've secured some crew for it, you have a location already in place. Those projects are totally eligible. The finished film that you're making can be no longer than 20 minutes. If you're making something that's a little bit longer, that's okay. Just please let us know. Films that can be pitched can be in any genre, live action or animation, and in any language. You don't need to make an English language film. You can make a film in any language. If you're looking to make an animated film, that works as well. And for live action, you can do comedies, you can do drama, and you can also make documentary projects. So on the actual pitch day, we're going to have 5 finalists, 4 to 5 finalists or teams who will pitch their project in front of a panel of 3 jurors. The 3 jurors are made up of industry professionals who either work in development, either are producers. They're quite experienced and they'll be able to look at your pitch and ask you questions afterwards. The way it works is on the day of, you get to present your project. You have around 6 minutes to pitch your film and 5 minutes of questions. So you pitch your film in front of a live jury and then a live audience. We recommend to keep your pitch around 5 to 6 minutes because that's just kind of the best way to retain people's attention. You'll be able to get kind of all the information that you need to say in that time. And after that, we have our juror members are going to ask you questions. These questions can pertain to the creative side of your project. They can actually pertain to the budget of your project, the production. They may ask you about your timeline. They may try to poke holes in your pitch just to see if you're fully ready to kind of, if anything comes up on the day, or if there's anything that doesn't seem fully feasible, they may ask you about that. But usually you're not caught off guard because during our pitch clinic, you'll have 2 mentors who will really prepare you. And by the time you pitch, you'll have kind of a lot of your questions already answered. So after all the folks have pitched, on the day of, we have the jury will deliberate and they'll select one winner. This one winner will win the cash prize and will also win a comprehensive in-kind package to support their film. So I just want to talk a little bit about the pitch prize package. So we'll talk about the winner and then we'll talk about the runner-ups right after. So the prize winner will win $5,000 in cash to kickstart their film or finish their short film. They'll also receive a comprehensive in-kind package that includes a 1-year subscription to ShotDeck. It also includes $1,500 of a certificate towards a camera package rental from Grande Camera. This is valid from December 2024 and December 2025. So you have a year to use that camera gear equipment, essentially, to use that $1,500 certificate to get camera gear equipment from Grande Camera. You'll also, if this is needed, you'll also get studio use or consultation with Archipelago Productions. They are a production firm that makes commercials. They're also making television projects. They're a really great partner because you either get to speak with them, speak with some of their execs or producers for a consultation, or you can instead opt out and use their studio space. So let's say you're running auditions or you actually want to use their space for filming, you can do so in their studio. We also can offer a 2-hour studio rental at Armstrong Acting Studio. This is usually used for casting. They're an acting studio and their space is really great for casting projects. So if your project is at that stage, we can organize a time for you to speak with them and book time to either do casting or anything you kind of would like to use that space for. A big thing that we offer is a production workflow consultation, with Charles Street Video. Charles Street Video is a camera gear equipment rental spot. We offer for the winner $3,000 in Edit Suite access or production equipment rentals and a 1-year membership. So you get to use $3,000 and put it towards using their Edit Suites, let's say for post-production for your project, or for their production equipment rentals, which is, camera gear equipment, all of that stuff. And they also can rent out third-party equipment, which is kind of like better cameras that they have. And we give a $500 cash award for this. So if let's say you're filming a project and part of Charles Street Video's camera gear equipment doesn't work for the film that you want to make, we can also offer $500 to use some of their third-party equipment, which, like I said, is sometimes a little bit kind of like a better camera or something like that. And in previous years, this has been super useful for previous winners and participants because it really helps ease that cost for renting out equipment or for using post-production edit suites. And then the other great part is we offer the opportunity to screen your work at the next year's festival, so the 2025 Toronto Relation Film Festival. So within the year, if you're the winner, you get to submit your film to us, and then you get to either perhaps premiere your film at Relation, which is a great way to kind of have your film play in front of a home audience, play in front of an audience that's super supportive of our pitch program and also super supportive of the filmmakers that have come up through our program. But you're not tied to premiering at our festival. If you'd like, you can definitely premiere at different festivals. We've had folks that have, submitted their films to TIFF, to festivals that happen before November. So if you'd like to, be considered to either premiere with us or screen with us as the winner for the next year, that's totally fantastic. And we also want to make sure the finalist, not just the winner, are they feel well compensated for all their efforts. So we can offer $500 cash for participation to the runner-ups. We can also offer an all-access pass to this year's festival, which includes seeing films, short films, attending our industry events, our networking events, and our panel discussions with filmmakers. And we also offer $350 in equipment rental credit at Charles Street Video. So you'll have a little bit of money that you can use for equipment rental. A lot of the folks that are runner-ups in our projects, in our films, or in our competition, they use a bit of the pitch finalist package to still make their projects, and they'll still submit it to our festival for consideration the following year or the year after. If there's any questions about that, please let me know. I kind of want to talk a little bit about the application process. I'm not sure if you've had the chance to look at our Google intake form, but if you haven't, please do so. Now I'll drop in actually a link to our website now, so that if you haven't had a chance to look at it, we can look at it together. So I just dropped it into the chat. So our application process is pretty straightforward. It's on a Google form, and you'll actually start by filling out your bio, which you describe yourself and your media art practice and experience. During the pitch competition and for the application, you can pitch on your own or you can pitch with someone. So for the application, you can either apply on your own or you can apply with someone that's part of your team. So if let's say you're the director and you have a producer, you can both apply. So we include a section to include a little bit of information about yourself and a bit of information about the second member on your team. We recommend that on the day of the pitch that you pitch either solo or with one person. Pitches with 3 people or more doesn't really work out. So that's kind of the best way to do it. Part of the application process, we also asked for you to send to talk about your project. So in about 500 words, You can describe your project's vision, your target audience, and really tell us what makes your project exciting. This is a place where you can share your innovative ideas. You can talk about the significance of the film and its potential impact. This is where you can kind of talk about why this film is personal to you, why you think this film is unique, why you think this film is kind of sets you and this film apart from other films that you've seen or other films that may be shared to us. And this section is incredibly crucial to kind of showcase why your project stands out. So it's not too many words, but it's a great place to kind of start off by telling us your log line. So in 1 or 2 sentences, tell us what your project's going to be about, and then tell us a little bit more about it. Tell us something that may be innovative. Tell us a little bit about the lead character. If it's a documentary, tell us a little bit about the subject of your film, or if it's about a topic, tell us about the topic, why it's relevant at this moment. After the project application description, you can also send us your script or your film treatment. This is optional, but it's really recommended. So let's say your script or your film treatment isn't fully ready. That's totally okay. You can submit a rough draft of your script or a rough draft of your film treatment. So film treatment is could also be a lookbook or a Bible, right? And this is where you can talk about your story, your visual style, or your inspiration. For your script, even if it's in a rough stage, it's not the completed script, that's totally okay because they'll give us an idea on your characters, your writing style, what the film could look like visually, and it really helps our jury kind of hear your voice in a little bit more detail than the 500 words that you sent describing your project. Another essential part of the application is submitting your project, your production schedule, and your budget. These are 2 separate categories. You'll submit your production schedule and you'll submit your budget. So for the production schedule, you'll provide a timeline you'll provide a timeline of your project. We don't enforce a strict template. We just want to ensure that your documents are very clear and they're very detailed, or as detailed as possible. You just want to show that you have an understanding of the production process and financial planning. So the ideal project completion timeline is within 1 year so that you're eligible to submit your film for next year. So if you can get your film made, the pitch competition ends in November. If let's say you can make your film by August, that would be fantastic because then you can send it to our film programmers and they can take a look at your project. In previous years, if you can't finish your film within 1 year, it's very understanding. You'll just speak with myself or with someone from our team and just let us know that you're working on your project, but you may need a little bit more time to maybe submit it for the festival in 2 years. So to go back to the application, you'll upload your production schedule. So this is generally where you outline which facilities you'll be using, approximately which dates you'll be using it. Let's say you know that you'll be shooting a specific month. This is when you let us know I'm shooting this month. This is when I'm going into post-production. Yeah, and if you have questions, I can send you some examples of production schedules, but also you can find some great production schedules online. And especially if you look for short film production schedules, you'll really see some great examples of it. Another important part is the budget. So we'd like to see a detailed budget that includes all sources of funding, whether it's confirmed or pending. We also want to see the expenses and the revenues of your budget, which will balance out. And then we want to see if there's any contracts or letters of agreement from confirmed revenue sources. So let's say for your film, you already received funding from a specific funder. We would love to know how much you received. And if you haven't received it, but you will be applying for it, we'd love to know when you'll be applying and when you may know if you've received that money. We can offer $5,000 as a prize amount. So if your budget exceeds that, please include just all the funding, where it's coming from, and whether it's confirmed or pending. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to create a clear budget sheet, so that way the jury members can see everything in a very kind of neat way. Um, if your project, if you can make your project for $5,000, or if you can make it for $15,000, that's totally fantastic. Your project does not need to have a very high budget, but if you do have a project that has a higher budget, you can also let us know in your project description if you'd be able to make it with a lower budget. The worst thing that can happen is if you shoot for a budget that's incredibly high, but you're not able to receive that funding and you win the competition, there's just not a huge guarantee that you'll be able to complete your project. So for any projects that can really utilize our pitch prize package, that's kind of great for us to know. Another aspect of the application is support materials. This is where you can send us, if you've received funding already, you can send us the confirmation. So whether it's an email, whatever it is, this is also where you can include any other creative materials. So for instance, storyboards or anything else that you think creatively will showcase your project. It's not necessary, because if you send us your project description, especially if you have a script or a film treatment that comes along with it, we'll already have a really good idea of your project. And lastly, you'll upload your CV of the main applicant, so of yourself, and if you're applying with a producer, or if you're applying with a director or a writer, you can include the CV of yourself and that person. And this is a great way for our jury to kind of know where you're at career-wise, where you're at experience-wise, and make the CV, kind of your creative CV, kind of your filmmaker CV. You don't fully need to include all the places that you've worked, but you can also include your education. If you went to film school, that's a great place to put it. If you've done any training programs, for instance, with BIPOC TV and film, you did a writing boot camp that they did, it would be great to see that, so that we can kind of see some of the training that you've had. I'd love to talk about the judging process now. So the way we score the applications is actually in 2 rounds. So the first round involves one set of jurors, which includes myself and 2 other industry members who are part of our festival. And we carefully review every single project that's sent to us. Uh, each year, we usually have, let's say, 40 projects or more sent to us. Um, and the way we score it is we look at originality, creativity, and clarity of the film vision. So this is what we look at for this is your project description and your script or treatment if you send one in. We look at your demonstrated ability to complete the project successfully. So this means that we look at your production timelines and your support materials. If you're making a documentary film, we would love to see a written confirmation that you're allowed to make the project about a certain subject or a certain person. For your production timeline, we'd love to see pre-production, production, and post-production. What stage are you at right now? Are you writing the script? Are you finalizing the script? Have you already crewed up and you're filming soon? If not, when are you going to put out a crew call? When are you going to put out a casting call? Previous winners have actually won the competition, and then they put out their casting call, they put out their crew call. And of course, this changes, but we just want to make sure that you have um, at least a rough idea of when you would like to do this. Of course, if you win um, and things change, that's totally okay. You can always be in contact with someone from our team and let us know. And it is your project. So if things changes, if something happens in your personal life and you need to delay something or make something happen sooner, that's totally okay. But we just want to make sure that you have a good idea of what it will look like when you're in pre-production, when you're actually in production, um, when you'll be filming, if you kind of know like, oh, I'm filming during this week, like I'm making a movie that takes place in the winter, I'm making a movie that takes place in the fall, I need to shoot like during this specific time period. Uh, and then we also score financial viability. And this is why your budget's really important. Even if it's not a perfect budget sheet, that's totally okay. But this is, we look at that to see how much will your budget cost, um, what sources of funding have you received, what sources of funding will you be applying for, what are your expenses, um, and how does it all tally up? And for expenses, you can think about camera gear equipment. And sorry, for expenses also, what you can include in your budget sheet is actually what would be offered by winning the Real Asian package. So you can include the 3,500 camera gear equipment. You can include the other 1,500 that we can offer. If you're looking to shoot at a studio that we can offer, you can include that. So you can include some of the financing that we'd be providing in your breakdown. Uh, and in here, it's great to include things like if you're paying actors, if you're renting out a specific location, whether it's Set Scouter or something like that, how much that would cost a little bit. And I'm going to talk a little about budgets a little bit more in a moment. And the last thing we look at is kind of relevance to the now. This is a little bit of a broader category, but we're curious to see how intriguing, how unique, how special is your project. This is the category where our jury gets to look at how creative you are, gets to look at your filmmaking style, gets to look at your specific project. Is it something that's going to speak to our audiences? Is it something that we haven't seen in the past? What sets this project up? What sets this project apart from others? So now we're going to talk a little bit about the budget format. So there's no specific format required, but clarity is key. So you can use simple columns to break down cost by type or stage. So again, pre-production, production, and post-production. Try to avoid using vague estimates and provide a breakdown or explanation for each cost. So for example, if you list a $4,000 film location rental, explain why it's essential and how you arrived at that figure. So you can even add a notes section to help clarify details. So that way we know, let's say you submit to us a $10,000 budget or a $15,000 budget to make your film, but $5,000 is used for the location. It's great if you add in your notes why a third of your budget is going towards making the film. So that way our jury doesn't see that as maybe like a red flag. We understand like this is very important. It's integral to your film, and that's why you're placing so much budget towards that. Now I'm going to go into a little bit of the format of the whole pitch experience after you submit your application. So after you submit your application, we start off by having a pitch orientation. So like I've said, on the actual pitch day, we're going to select 5 participants or 5 teams to pitch their project. So we start off with a pitch orientation where we honestly just meet with us. You meet people from our team, and the great thing is in this orientation, you get to see who the other people who are pitching their projects are. So that way, when we go into our pitch clinic, which is going to be happening mid-October, the format of our pitch clinic, it's a one-day session that happens at the Real Asian office. It's going to be with 2 mentors. The mentors are filmmakers, producers, people that have a lot of experience with pitching. Um, and on that day, you come into our office. We start off by giving you tips and tricks on how to pitch a project. Sometimes we'll have a previous pitch winner come in, and they'll tell you everything about their experience pitching the project at Real Asian, what they did during their pitch to really sound clear, really sell their project. And they'll talk about how they also connected with producers, how they also made the best of this experience. And we'll talk a little bit more about that very soon. And we also offer an industry boot camp. So in mid-October, end of October, we offer a 2-day online program where it's online sessions where you get to meet different industry organizations like NABET, like Charles Street Video. We have a public relations workshop. So this is a place where we open it up to anyone who, let's say you want to meet with NABET, which is a union. You get to meet with them. They tell you everything that they're about, and you get to ask questions. We have had folks like ACTRA come in before, and they'll tell you if you're making a film, a short film, this is how you can work with ACTRA. This is how you can find actors. Like, let's say you're looking for a very specific actor. You're looking for an Iranian actor, this specific age. They'll tell you that if you work with ACTRA, we can help you find this actor in this way possible. And then we connect you with these folks. We'll also have the production company that Archipelago Productions come in and speak to you. And in this session, you can actually ask them everything from what kind of projects do you look for? Since they're making films and TV series, it's a great way to kind of meet producers and execs who do take projects to go into development. So all of these opportunities during this 2-day online workshops kind of helps you meet other people in the industry. So I want to go through some like kind of important notes. So for the pitch clinic, which happens in mid-October, it is mandatory, and we do want everyone to come on this day. Um, the way that day works is it's a great way to kind of spend time with the other pitch finalists. Um, so again, like I said, you start off with kind of time to go over tips and tricks of how to sell your film, how to pitch a project in 5 to 6 minutes. But the best part of the project of this day is individually with the two mentors, you get to go in a room and you get to practice your pitch. So whether it's memorized, whether you have it written out, whether it's in a rough stage, it's totally okay. You get to practice it twice with the two mentors. And on that day, they'll give you notes. They'll give you really, really strong notes on how you can improve your pitch. They'll also have seen your project before. So if they have any notes on your budget, your production timeline, they'll go through that. And they'll tell you maybe for your pitch specifically, you should focus on the creative. Or, oh, if your pitch doesn't include anything about your production timeline or your budget, they'll tell you to include that. If they see any holes in your pitch or any kind of parts that seems a bit weaker, they'll let you know. So it's a great way for you to practice and also fill in any gaps that you may not have thought of. And additionally, it's a great way for you to kind of build a relationship with the people who are also pitching projects, because these are people that you'll be potentially working with, potentially seeing for a really long time. And in the past, we've had our cohorts become very close. For instance, 2 years ago, the pitch winner, Netta, just produced another person's project who was in her cohort. So they're kind of really strong relationships that you end up making movies with these people, and you can work with them as producers in the future. So it's a really great way and kind of a very like wholesome, fun way to practice your pitch and also just make connections. Um, so we also want to make sure that your project can be completed with the current budget you have in place, um, which includes the $5,000 prize and the in-kind support. If your budget ever snowballs into a larger amount, which is totally okay, you may, tell us that you're going to make your film for $15,000, but then you received money from, an art council. It's okay if your budget grows to, let's say, 60,000, because this way you'd be able to pay your cast or your crew better. So that's totally okay. So if you kind of have a lower budget in mind, that's still very doable to make your film. I would say apply with that budget. And if you receive more funding, you can, you know, just kind of pay everyone and get kind of better material. But we just want to make sure that you're able to make your film. And uh, because we said this project is for emerging filmmakers, that isn't necessarily filmmakers that are just starting out. So if you're someone that has never made a film, I would say you can still apply. You can always email me and I'll let you know if I think you're at the right stage for this. But definitely still apply. But we do have another program called Unsung Voices, which is actually for folks who have never made a film before. It's a youth training program for folks who are 18 to 29 who have never made a film or maybe made one or two short films. And during this program, you have a whole summer to make a movie, which is a very short timeline, but we pair you with mentors. We give you resources to make the film, to edit the film, and the film plays at our festival. It's a really successful program that has every year we see 5 incredible new films being made. And it's kind of a great way if you're someone that isn't from the film world but would love to get involved. It's a great way for you to make a film. So if you have any questions about that specific program, Unsung Voices, please let me know. And if you ever want to check it out during the festival, it's one of our shorts programs. So every year you get to see 5 films from these filmmakers. So some additional notes just to consider is, again, we don't accept projects in post production, so projects that only need post-production work, because we do want to see the prize package being utilized. Um, and yeah, while the cash prize is really important, we would really encourage the winner to take full advantage of the additional services and resources we offer if that's possible. Um, in the past, I'd love to kind of talk a little bit about a couple projects and a couple filmmakers that have won the competition and made their projects. 2 years ago, we had a filmmaker called Netta who pitched a film called Unibrow that played at our festival last year and has gone on to play at many festivals, including festivals um, that are considered for the that are also qualifying. So she did our pitch competition. She made a lot of great connections, and then played her film at our festival, but continued to play her film all over the world. And before this, Netta was taking a little bit of a pause on filmmaking, so it kind of brought her back into this world. Last year, the winner, Kay, is currently making their low-budget animated film. They're making an animated film where every frame is hand-drawn, and it's for a lower budget. And they're gonna finish this project, I think, soon. And it's a really interesting project because we haven't fully seen too many animated projects winning the prize package. Again, on the actual pitch day, I forgot to mention that there's also going to be an MC who introduces all the 5 finalists. There's the live jury who's going to deliberate the project, and then they'll announce the winner at our closing party. Um, and before our actual pitch day, we have a pitch rehearsal. So you get to come to the place where the pitch competition will be hosted. You'll get to, stand in front of the stage, practice a little bit, make sure the mic works well, make sure you feel comfortable. And on the actual pitch day, we make sure that you feel completely safe, um, completely comfortable as much as possible. And I always make myself available to folks that want to practice more than just their pitch clinic. If you do your pitch clinic and you want to practice some more, I'm always happy to meet with you, do a Zoom call, hear your pitch more, and perhaps bring someone else on our team from our shorts, one maybe our features programmer or shorts programmer who are very experienced with pitching and hearing about films. And we can always kind of help you a little bit more. So I'm going to start looking at questions that you've all sent. If you haven't sent any questions just yet, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll go through them. Again, if I don't answer any of your questions, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer you by email or set up a call to go over anything. So I don't have any reference documents for budgeting templates or production schedules. Katrina, if you ask this, you can email me and I'll send you a couple that I've sent to folks in the past. But if you Google them, you'll find some great examples, and make sure to Google the ones for short films. Ours, you don't need to send in something that's incredibly, uh, you know, like incredibly detailed or super professional, but we just want to have a clear understanding of your budget and a clear understanding of your production schedule. Okay, and then we received another question. Is it okay to partner with an existing production company? Um, so if you could email me what production company, or even just type in the chat right now, depending on the production company, it would be okay. Um, but usually, if it's a TV production company, we haven't had that happen in the past. Our student films, okay. If you're a student and you're applying for this, that's totally okay as well. Just make sure to let us know that you're a student and you're applying for this competition. If you're qualified, we have no problems with you applying. If you're applying with someone, do both applicants have to fulfill the eligibility requirements? So only one of you needs to fulfill the eligibility requirements. So if you're someone that is eligible and your partner is not, you can just be the one to submit your application. That's no problem at all. And the eligibility requirement is for the main applicant. It's for yourself applying. It's not for your entire crew or your cast. So for instance, like you don't need to have your entire crew or cast being Canadian citizens. You can work with people that are non-PR or non-citizen. That's totally okay. So someone asked, I would like to submit multiple projects. Is that allowed? If a project, does a project with a completed script have a better chance of selection compared to those with only outlines? I would say if you have a script, it may show a little bit more of your voice. It may show um, a little bit of your progress. But if you have an outline, that's also great. I think adding an outline, a script, or film treatment goes a long way above your project description, because your project description is only 500 words. So if you include any of the three, that's fantastic. If you have a script, even if it's in a rough stage, you can submit it. Um, but yeah, I hope that answers your question. But please, if you are applying for multiple with multiple projects, limit it to 2 projects. Um, this isn't the place to kind of submit all your film ideas. We want to see that this is a film idea that you have. It's something you're working towards, and that you're ready to take, to take this challenge. We don't want to just see a bunch of kind of like, pardon my language, but like half-assed film ideas. We want to see kind of like your strongest idea, your strongest proposal, and through the competition, you get to kind of make that film. Yeah, yeah. And for the person who asked about the production company, that's okay. I see what you said. Yeah, you can apply with them. You would be the main applicant, so you could apply as the main applicant, and um, in the section that says you can send in additional documents, just send us a Word document that describes your relationship with the production company and what their role would be. And that's no problems at all. So someone asked, would you be judging the application based only on the strength of the project, or will our previous experiences making films be considered as well? Yes, there's a section where you can include some of your previous work or a trailer of your work, and that will be considered as well. Our juries will also have a copy of your CV, so they'll be able to see if you've had any film education, if you've made other projects. We would love to see folks who have made previous short films apply to this, as this is kind of like the perfect place for people who are making their second, their third, their fourth short film. So please do include your CV. If you have any previous work, whether it's a completed short or a trailer or a compilation of previous works, please include it, as juries will consider your experience and will be looking at your CV. Are there any other questions from folks in the room? I'll give it a couple minutes, and if I haven't answered any of the questions properly from folks that are already in the chat, please let me know and I'll clarify anything if needed. And if you have any questions and you would like to ask, feel free to turn your camera on or feel free to turn your mic on and let me know.
Hey there, this is Kabir Berg. I had a quick question.
Yeah,
With respect to the initial, submission materials and pitch deck, etc., how much capacity is there or possibility for that to evolve throughout the process of, whether you're part of the 5 finalists, or once you've submitted, you continue to iterate and evolve the pitch, and then it potentially gets accepted. I guess what's the kind of latitude there in terms of how flexible you are with accepting kind of evolving submissions, just in case, maybe you have different idea come in, or so another collaborator joins the project and has an idea to evolve the project in a specific way,
got it.
to improve your chances of winning competition.
Okay, got it. Completely open to things changing up. So let's say you send in your application. Um, we know that your film is in development and it's also in production, so it's changing. So let's say you apply and you don't have your crew or your cast just yet. We know that you'll be crewing up, that you'll build your cast. So in your production timeline, you can say, this is the time where I will be looking for a crew, that this is the time I will be looking for a producer to come on board if I don't have one right now. That's totally okay. And let's say your film changes a little bit creative wise, that's also okay. The film that you pitch right now, we know it's evolving. So we're totally okay if you pitch, a specific iteration of your project, but things shape up a little bit more. If a writer comes on and you develop a different aspect of that project, that's also okay. The application that you submit and the project you submit, we understand that it's evolving, so you don't need to stick to it completely. So for instance, let's say you apply again, like I'm saying for the budget, if you apply with a lower budget of 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, but you secure more financing and your project changes a little bit, that's okay as well. That can change. Or if you apply for something with a little bit more financing, but you don't fully get it, but you can still make your film with a lower budget, and that may mean the vision changes a little. That works as well. Um, did I answer your question? Is there anything like a bit more specific that you wanted to ask? But if you're saying, could I change my
Mhm.
application
Yeah.
before the jury reads it? Applications are due August 16th, so you won't really have a chance to send us an application and then send us additional materials.
Right.
But if you submit your application, you're selected to go into the 5 finalists, and your application changes before your pitch, that also works, and you can actually add those changes into your pitch. We've had folks in the past where um, they've secured a lead actor for their project right before the pitch, and they'll change their pitch application to say, I secured the lead actor, I'll be working with this person, this is what they bring to the project.
Yeah, that does answer the question. Yeah, I think it was also in lines of kind of what you alluded to there with budget or additional crew members that join the project that potentially increases your budget, and then you know additional financing, all those kinds of scenarios. So it's just comforting to know that after the deadline that we're still able to kind of evolve the project as things come up and as the project kind of grows.
Exactly. And for instance, I was speaking about a previous winner, Netta, who won the competition. They had secured additional funding, so their project changed a little bit. They, paid their cast and crew more than they had initially thought of. And that's totally okay. Even if subject matter changes a little bit, we understand that that's a possibility, especially if, let's say, you're submitting a documentary film project. We know that things may change a little bit, but we just want to make sure that your kind of like your main vision stays intact, um, and that you're not making an entirely different film. But if you're still making the same film with changes and evolutions, that's totally okay.
Great, thanks so much.
No problem. Are there any other questions? But yeah, if you we really would love to see as many applications as possible. So please feel free to send this to your friends. Um, I can make myself very available. So if you have any questions at any moment, please let me know. Um, if you'd like to see previous examples of pitch films, we can show you that if they're out. Um, if you would maybe like to speak to someone who has won the competition, you can go online and you can see who were runner-ups, who were winners. And I would actually suggest doing that, like going online, seeing who else has pitched the project, where they are career-wise. You can look at our cohort last year. There was a fantastic cohort of filmmakers. The winners making their animated project right now. Some of the runner-ups are actually making their short films that they pitched currently. And a lot of our folks who had applied to this program are now working on more short films, are working on potentially their first feature, are actually working towards becoming television writers. So we would kind of, yeah, I think it's a really good idea to look at folks who applied before and kind of see where they're at, kind of see um, if you feel like you're like if this is the right space for you, and even if you feel like you don't have you're not super experienced, that's okay. Like this is still for emerging folks, so you can completely apply for it, and just make sure that your application is as strong as possible and focus kind of on your strengths. So if you're not super experienced, focus on why this project, story wise, creative wise, character wise, is very unique. Yeah, but yeah, and I also want to say, it's daunting pitching the project. But with all the events that happens beforehand, most applicants, they go into it feeling kind of pretty like relaxed about it. They're still very nervous, but we try to make it as, you know, least anxiety fueling as possible. And what we love to do at Real Asian is also provide fun environment to connect with folks. So last year we had one of the runner-ups meet a producer the day of the competition. So the day of the competition, there's producers that come. We have industry members. It ends with our closing night party, and I'll be there. Members from our team will be there. So we'll always try and connect you with people. And you may have people that go to the pitch competition and message you later on. And our relationship never just ends with the competition or your application maybe not moving forward. You can always come to our events. We can always try to help connect you with people. And we also offer a lot of training programs and networking events throughout the year. So if I always tell people, like, don't get discouraged if you're not selected, or if you're selected but you don't win. It's making films is a really long endeavor, and you'll get a lot of no's before you get yeses. So just kind of like keep going at it. And our team is always here to help support you as best as we can. And oftentimes that's giving you resources, pointing you in the right direction, trying to connect you with someone, perhaps getting you coffee, meet up with someone, anything of that kind of nature. So we're going to come up to our end time shortly. If there's any additional questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat or turn on your mic. Okay, I'll give it a little bit more time. And also, as you're doing your application, if you have any issues with the Google form, if any kind of criteria aspect is unclear, you want to know a little bit more about the judging, just let me know, and I'll be able to send you that information. But the Google Sheet is like pretty straightforward. Really, the main thing, the things you have to send in is your project description, if you have a script or a treatment or storyboards, anything like that, you can send that in. And then your production timeline, which again, you send in a version, but if that changes, that's okay. What you send in doesn't mean it's set in stone. We just want to see that you have a clear understanding, and that you do have at least a rough timeline of when and how you'll make this film. And same thing goes with your budget. And in your budgets, you can always create a section that says notes, and you can always include information about it. So that way, when the jury reads it, there's no they don't have to think about it. You explain something that may be a little bit tricky. But yeah, if there's any questions, I'll take them now. If not, I'll leave my email one more time in the chat, and you can email me anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be signing off if there's no questions, and send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.